Değerli katılımcılar, kıymetli meslektaşlar ve araştırmacılar, Akademik Dünyaya Açılan Kapılar başlıklı canlı yayın serimizin ilk oturumuna hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bu yayın YouTube kanalımızda gerçekleştirdiğimiz ilk canlı etkinliktir. Amacımız akademik yayıncılık, uluslararası işbirlikleri ve bilimsel kariyer planlaması gibi alanlarda kendini geliştirmek isteyen araştırmacılara rehberlik etmektir. Ben moderatörünüz Doçent Doktor Hüseyin ATEŞ. Bu serinin yürütücüsü olarak sizlerle birlikte olmaktan büyük mutluluk duyuyorum. Bu oturumun kaydı canlı yayın ardından YouTube kanalımızda erişilebilir olmaya devam edecektir. Kanalımıza abone olmanız ve yayınımızı beğenerek destek olmanız daha fazla araştırmacıya ulaşmamıza katkı sağlayacaktır. Etkinliğimizde Türkçe ve İngilizce dillerine dönüşümlü olarak kullanacağız. İngilizce hakim olmayan izleyicilerimiz için belirli bölümlerde Türkçe özetler sunulacaktır. Ayrıca konuşmaları anlık altyazılar aracılığıyla takip edebilirsiniz. Kanalla ilgili bahsettiğim bu bilgiyi konuğumuzun da anlaması için bu bölümü İngilizce sunacağım. Bütün bu konuşmalarımızın ardından sizler de sorularınız varsa sohbet bölümüne yazabilirsiniz. Ve bu sohbet bölümüne yazdığınız soruları İngilizce olarak da oraya yazarsanız doğrudan okumamız daha kolay olacaktır. Respected participants, valued colleagues and fellow researchers, welcome to the first session of our live broadcast series titled Opening Doors in Academia. This is our first live event hosted in our YouTube channel. Our primary objective is to provide guidance and inspiration to researchers seeking to develop themselves in academic publishing, international collaboration and scholarly career planning. My name is Hüseyin ATEŞ and I am your moderator for today's session. As the host of this series, it's a great pleasure to be with you and guide our discussion. Please note that the full recording of this session will remain accessible on our YouTube channel. Following the live event, we kindly invite you to subscribe to our channel and like this broadcast, since your support helps us reach a broader academic audience. Throughout this session, we will alternate between Turkish and English for participants unfamiliar with English. We will provide periodic summaries in Turkish. Additionally, real-time captions will be available for following discussion. Bugünkü oturumumuzun konu Universidad Católica de Oriente, Colombia ülkesinde öğretim üyesi Sayın Doktor Juan Garzón'dur. Kendisi akademik yayıncılıkta istikrarlı bir üretkenlik göstermiş. Çeşitli uluslararası projelerde yer almış ve genç araştırmacılara ilham veren bir bilim insanı olarak tanınmaktadır. Kendisine bugünkü etkinliğimize katıldığı ve zaman ayırdığı için ayrıca teşekkür ederiz. Our guest today is Dr. Juan Garzón, a faculty member at Universidad Católica de Oriente in Colombia country. He is recognized for his consistent academic productivity, involvement in international research initiatives, and his outstanding mentorship of emerging scholars. We sincerely thank him for joining us today and for generously devoting him time to this event. Şimdi Doktor Garzón'un akademik yolculuğunu daha yakından tanımak ve deneyimlerinden faydalanmak amacıyla kendisine yöneteceğimiz bazı sorular olacak. O sorulara geçelim. Now, to gain deeper insights into Dr. Garzón's academic experiences, we will proceed with a series of questions to guide our conversation. Bu bölümdeki soruları hem Türkçe hem İngilizce olarak yöneteceğiz. First of all, I would like to ask, how are you feeling today, Dr. Garzón?
Hi, thank you, Hussein, for having me here. Hello, everyone. Well, I'm sending you my best from Colombia. As Dr. Hussein mentioned, well, I was part in Turkish. My name is Juan Garzón. I work as a professor in the Catholic University of the East in Rio Negro, Colombia. That would be in Spanish, Universidad Católica de Oriente. And I'm very happy to be here. This is still morning in Colombia. It's raining a lot, but yeah, this is a great opportunity to talk to you, to share some experience, and thank you for having me here.
I'm pleased to hear that you are doing well.
Yeah, pretty well.
Now I'm checking the channel at the same time. I need to
Yeah.
understand there is voice or not. That was a really big problem right now, and I will check it.
Okay, no problem.
ilk yayınımızda bazı sıkıntılarımız var. Tekrardan özür dileriz. Şimdi ilk sorumuza geçelim. Bir akademik geçmişinizi nasıl başladı, akademik geçmişine ve yayıncılığa nasıl başlamış bunu öğrenelim araştırmacımızdan. Dr. Juan Garzón, could you briefly clarify who you are and share your academic background and how you got started in publishing?
Okay, that's a good one. Well, of course, my name is Juan Garzón. I am a professor at the Catholic University of the East. My bachelor was in engineering. I am an electronic engineer. Then after that, I did a master degree in telecommunications. Then my second master degree was in information and communication technologies. And finally, my PhD was in computer science. As you may know, as you may see, all my educational background is related to both engineering, and technology. So that's my background. However, my research focus has been primarily in education. So although my bachelor education was focused on engineering and technologies, my research experience is mostly in education. So what do? I use technologies to create educational resources to help in educational environments. That's it. That's basically what it is.
Gerçekten ilham verici bir başlangıç öyküsü. Öncelikle bunu söylemek lazım. Uzun bir süreçten geçmiş bir eğitim süreci. Bu arada sesle ilgili galiba biraz sıkıntı olduğu söyleniyor. Bununla ilgili şu anda tam olarak yapabileceğimiz ne var bilmiyorum ama Dr. Garzón, probably there is some problem in terms of voice. They can't hear you probably. Is it any other option for you?
I'm gonna try with this, but let me check.
I tried to turn on more in my computer, but I don't know if it will be better for you right now. I think the sound is not problem for me. First, I want to state that, but for the audience, probably they believe that there's a problem. Could you say something?
Yeah. Hello.
It's very good for me. Okay. That was a truly inspiring entry into the academic world. İkinci sorumuza geçelim. Burada karşılaştığı güçlükleri konuşalım. Following that inspiring background, let's now turn to the challenges you encountered during your first publication process. İlk akademik yayın sürecinizde karşılaştığınız başlıca zorluklar nelerdi? Bu zorlukları nasıl aştınız? What were some key challenges you faced in publishing your first articles and how did you overcome them?
Well, can you hear me well now?
I'm good for me. There's no problem.
Okay, because I activated the speaker, and the headphones, so I suppose it's gonna be better now. Okay, well, as I was saying, I did 2 master degrees. In the first master, I published. I wrote a paper that was back in 2012. I wrote my first paper, and I submitted it. By that time, I was already working on my university. So we have a journal, a scientific journal in our university, but that journal is not indexed, is not of a good quality, right? So I said, well, this is a good opportunity. So I submitted it there, but it was rejected. It was rejected by the associate editor. That person rejected the paper because of low quality. So I improved it, submitted again, and it was rejected again. To make a long story short, it was rejected 6 times in my university, in the journal of my university. Even though it wasn't a good journal, it was rejected many times. But I didn't quit. I kept improving the quality of the journal, and by the end of that time, it was like 3 years, a 3 years process. And in 2015, the paper had been improved so much, and I had learned so much about the process that I just. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, there is no problem.
Okay.
Please
So as I was,
going.
okay, as I was saying, well, the sixth time that they rejected the paper, that was 2015, I decided not to keep submitting the paper to the same journal, but I changed the journal to a better journal. In Colombia, we have a database system named Publindex. And Publindex, if you publish a journal, a paper in a journal that is indexed in Publindex, that's a good thing. So I was kind of wasting my time in the journal of my university because it's not indexed, it's not of a good quality, and they kept rejecting it. However, I learned a lot. I learned so much during the process. I improved the paper a lot, and I submitted it to a better journal. In less than 1 month, it was accepted as it was. They said the journal was too good. Well, sorry, the paper was too good, and they published it they accepted it in 1 month and published it 15 days after that. So that was a great experience for me because the process lasted 3 years of rejections. But during that moment, during that time, I learned a lot. I improved the paper. I submitted it to a better journal, and it was published. So that is like the story how everything began.
These challenges resonate with many young scholars, but
Yeah.
probably you did very bad time. Şimdi bu süreçte Garzón bayağı bir sıkıntı yaşamış ama ilk gönderdiği dergi aslında hiçbir yerde taranmayan bir dergiymiş. Kendi fakülte dergisiymiş. Bu süreçte defalarca göndermesine rağmen olumlu bir sonuç alamamış. Ondan bahsediyor. Ondan sonra dergiyi değiştirmiş. Çok uğraşmış. İşte sürekli farklı dergileri göndermiş. Aslında bunlar hepimizin sıklıkla karşılaştığı problemler. Bazen bir derginin de peşine koşmamak lazım. Bunlar işte birçok genç araştırmacı için tanıdık. Çözüm yolları bizim için de işte çok kolay olmuyor maalesef. Bazen deneyimlerle yola çıkmamız gerekiyor. Şimdi yayınlarla beraber peki doğru seçme sürecinde biraz daha odaklanalım. Let's now focus on how you approach the selection of suitable journals for your publications. Bir çalışmanız için doğru akademik dergi seçerken hangi bilimsel ölçütleri göz önünde bulundurmak lazım? How do you choose the right journals for your own work?
Well, there are two options, right? It's whether you are an experienced researcher or you're new to this field, right? As I am right now, kind of experienced research, we kind of know all the journals that are suitable for our job. So let's say I have a good paper. I'm always thinking of what journal should I aim into? What journal should I publish this paper in? So if the paper is of a top quality, I should aim for the best journals, right? So I have 3-4 journals in mind. If it's not a very good quality paper, I should aim for a paper of a medium quality. So good papers that are indexed in good databases, but you have to recognize the quality of the paper before submitting it to a specific journal. But if you're not experienced, there's something else you can do. So when you're writing a paper, let's say you're not experienced, you're going to use about 15 papers. So you're going to cite 15 different studies. So what you could do is to identify those papers that you're citing, identify the journals where they were published, and then you can keep track of those journals. Perhaps 3, 4, 5 papers were published in the same journals, and you can identify the quality of that journal. If it's of a good quality, yeah, maybe you could start thinking of how to publish in that journal. So the process while you're writing the paper will teach you what journals would be good for your job. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there are 2 main databases, Scopus and Web of Science. Web of Science has a metric that is very popular around the world, which is impact factor. So if a journal has an impact factor, whether of 1 or 10, so it's a good indication of quality. you could say, well, this is if the impact factor of a journal is like above 10, that's a top quality journal. So perhaps if you're not a experienced researcher, you shouldn't aim for that journal. But if it's about 1.5, 2 impact factor journal, that's perhaps what you should aim to. Okay, so basically, if you're not experienced, you can identify the journals where the papers that you're using, those papers, where they were published. And if you're experienced, you will already know where to publish. And depending on the quality of your paper, you will decide whether to publish on a top journal or on a good journal that is not of the highest quality. That's it.
Thank you so much. It was very long speech for us. Now I need to tell it in Turkish. Şimdi bu süreçte iki farklı tabii yol var diyor. Bunlardan birincisi deneyim ama bu süreci anlattı. Bu sürece birçoğumuz hakim. Aslında dünyanın diğer ucunda Kolombiya'dan bize anlatılan durumlar aslında bizim için çok yabancı değil. Yani genel olarak özetlediğimiz nokta şu diyor. Bizim dergi süreçlerini seçerken, makalelerimizi yayınlarken daha çok baktığımız nokta Web of Science'daki impact faktörü yani etki büyüklüğü dediğimiz durum ne kadar yüksekse o kadar iyi olduğunu düşünürüz diyor. Ve bu biraz daha tecrübeyle sabit oluyor diyor. Yani defalarca gönderdiğimizde biz olumlu sonuçlar alabiliriz ya da almayabiliriz ama buradaki temel faktör şudur. Yani iyi bir dergiyi nasıl ararız biz? Web of Science'a bakarız. Oradaki impact faktör kendisi işte 5-10 dedi ama bu alandan alana göre değişiyor tabii. Bizim eğitim alanında biraz daha böyle 10 impact faktörün üzerinde dergi yok. Genelde böyle Q1 istiyorsak 4 impact faktör gibi herhalde o civarda var. Ondan sonra 3-2-1 diye iniyor ama bizim eğitimde belki 1-2 tane 10 impact faktör vardır. You talk about some impact factor in 10. Do you have any publications in 10 impact factor journal?
Yeah, in a 12 impact factor journal. Yeah, that's the top. And yeah, it's very tough. Well, actually, there's a very good journal named Computers and Education. Its impact factor right now, it's like about 10, 11, something like that. And well, they have rejected 6 papers. They have rejected me 6 papers. So I'm never gonna quit. I'm never gonna quit. This time I sent the 7th paper. Last year it wasn't rejected. They asked for major corrections. So I already submitted the paper again last month, and hopefully this paper is going to be accepted. So yeah, the process is hard, but if you don't quit, you always gonna make what you are willing to.
Do you have a publication, education research review, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the top publication.
Yes, top.
Well, actually, I have 2 in that journal. 2 papers.
Şimdi impact faktörden bahsetmişken şunu da sordum arada. Hiç çok yüksek 10 impact faktörün üzerinde dergide yayının var mı diye. Şunu söyledi yani ilk olarak Computers and Education dergisine gönderdim. Oradan ilk olarak 6 tane ret aldım. 6 sefer ret aldım. 7.sine yine gönderdim. Yani hatta ben oradaki fikirlere de katılmıyordum açıkçası diyor. Çok defalarca ret aldım diyor ki bu eğitim alanında en üst dergi ilk 2'nin 3'ünün içindeki bir dergidendir diyor. Sonra ben şunu sordum. Yani bildiğim kadarıyla Education Research Review dergisinde de bir çalışmam vardı. Doğru mu dedim. Bu da 1. sıradaki bir dergi eğitimle ilgili impact faktör içerisinde. Dünyanın en iyi dergisi oluyor. Bir değil 2 tane vardı dedi. Yani gerçekten alanda iyi olduğunu bize göstermiş oldu. Özellikle bu Education Research Review, Computers and Education tecrübeleri bir araştırmacının gerçekten hayatta karşılaşması gereken önemli deneyimler. Ama tabii buralara gönderiyorsanız 10 defa, 15 defa ret almayı göz önünde bulundurmak lazım. Hiç kimse ilk seferinde kabul almıyordur. Do you believe that if anybody get accept in first time in Computers and Education or Education Research Review?
No one.
No one.
That hasn't happened in history, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Well, it depends. If you're not experienced, but you're gonna publish with experienced researcher, well, perhaps they're going to accept it, but not because of you, but because of the other people. Mm-hmm. So if you're the first author of a paper, if you're the one who's going to write it, it's for me it's rather impossible to be accepted in a top journal for the first time because it's a process. So as I was mentioning, the process can last like 3 years, 2 years, even though you are an experienced researcher. So if you don't have any experience at all, so that's gonna take a while, but it's worth it. That's what you always have to keep in mind. It's always worth it.
Okay. Sizce ilk seferinde kabul olan kimse var mıdır bu dergide dedim. Tabii gülerek yok, hiç kimse yoktur dedi. Ama aynı zamanda bir şartla dedi. Belki de gerçekten bu alanda çok tecrübeli bir yayınları varsa, çok tecrübeli biri ise, çok iyi dergiler, yayınları varsa belki o zaman olabilir ama genelde de kabul oranı çok düşük diye özetleyebiliriz şu anda. Diğer sorumuza geçelim. Diğer sorumuz şu olsun. Akademik üretkenliğinizi nasıl sürdürülebilir hale geldiniz diye soralım. What strategies have helped you maintain consistent academic productivity?
Well, I would say more than a strategy is my energy. So my energy or what powers me is motivation. For me, it's all about motivation. If you're motivated to do something, you will get into it, whatever it takes, right? So what motivates me? Well, for example, before I got my first paper published in a journal, well, so the first paper in a journal was the paper that I wrote when I did my first master degree. But when I did my second master degree, I wrote another paper and my advisor asked me to submit it to a conference. So I said, well, a conference? Okay. The conference was going to be in Italy. Well, no, in Seville, Spain. So she said, let's submit it to the conference. I said, okay, that's good. I didn't know if it was going to be accepted or if I was going to have the money to go there. But I submitted it, it was accepted. Then I talked to the people in my university. They provided all the money that I needed. They said, okay, we're gonna pay for everything. I had 15 days vacation. I went to Europe for the first time. In that trip, of course, it was amazing because I met a lot of researchers, but also because I get to know Paris. I went to France. I went to Italy, Rome, Italy. I went to Madrid in Spain. So that changed my life. So that kept me motivated and have kept me motivated for my whole life. So I know if I publish, if I keep working on this, I can obtain a lot of rewards. Okay. So for example, what motivates me, it's what keeps me maintain consistency in academic productivity. But it's not only about it, it's also about, I know this is the best way that I can contribute. This is my best contribution to the world. I can contribute with my research, so that motivates me too. Also, I can, because I'm doing this, I'm doing my research, I'm publishing my papers, I can manage my own time. I can have, of course, international trips, international internships, and I know all of this, I can get it, I can obtain all of this with my publications, right? So what is the best strategy? I would say collaborative research, because when I'm working with other people with collaborative research, right, I can get to publish more papers, I can get to research more, I can do a better, more significant contribution to the world, and that's basically my strategy to keep publishing, because it pays off.
Thank you for your answer. Your consistent and the balanced model of productivity is truly impressive. Thank you so much. Still,
Thank you for that.
there is some problem to connect. I will just answer. Şimdi de genç araştırmacılar için önerilerini soralım bakalım. After hearing about how you maintain your productivity, we are now curious about your advice for early career researchers. Peki genç araştırmacılar için, böyle çekinen araştırmacılar için ne gibi bir öneriniz var? Onu öğrenelim. What advice would you give to early career researchers who are hesitant or unsure about submitting to international journals?
Okay, I would think of three advices, right? First, find your passion, right? Look for your passion. What motivates you? Because, well, as I have mentioned, this is a hard work. This is hard work. You have to be resilient. You have to overcome a lot of problems. And if you're not motivated by doing this, you're not going to make it, right? So first, I would say, look for your passion. What is my passion, for example? Perhaps traveling, managing my time, contributing to the world. So that's my passion, and that's what keeps me motivated, right? So think of what can you get from publishing. If you're gonna publish, you're gonna get a reward, right? You're gonna get a prize. What's that prize, right? That will give you the motivation to feel all the challenges that you're gonna find in the way, right? So that was the first one. Second one would be resilient, okay? Never give up. Never give up. Accept every critic of editors, of your professors, of your advisors as opportunities to improve. Let's say you submit a paper to a journal, right? You're gonna get a lot of observations, a lot of things that you have to improve on your paper, and it's not personal. Perhaps some person may think, oh, he has a problem with me, that person doesn't love me, that person doesn't want me, that person is being mean to me. No, nothing of that. No one knows you. No reviewer knows you. And if they do know you, well, they do not know that they're reviewing your paper. All reviewing process is double blind, so they don't know who are they evaluating to, and you don't know who is going to evaluate you. So all the critics that you're going to receive are not personal, and not because of you. So those you should take like opportunities to improve your paper and to learn a lot. That would be my second one, to be resilient. And third, well, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward. So that is, if you aim to publish in a national, in a non-quality journal, perhaps you're not gonna get a big prize. The reward is not going to be good, right? But if you aim to publish, like, for example, in international journals, in journals with a good quality, with good impact factors, you know the reward is going to be bigger. So as I mentioned, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward. So think big, think of great things, and you after some hard work, you're gonna make it.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Şu an şu şekilde 3 tane tavsiye verebilirim dedi. Birincisi, hırsınızı, isteğinizi hiçbir zaman kaybetmeyin dedi. Bu hırs, istek her zaman sizi canlı tutsun dedi. Bu süreçte yığılmayın. Yani sürekli karşılaşacağınız problemler olacaktır tabii diyor. Yani birçoğumuzun aslında bildiği gibi yüksek lisans sürecinde, doktora sürecinde, makale sürecinde danışmanımızla ilgili sorunlarımız olmuştur. Üniversitemizle ilgili sorunlarımız olmuştur. Makaleler defalarca ret almıştır ama pes etmeyin. Sürekli devam edin dedi. Bir diğeri, yılmayın, pes etmeyin. Yani birincisi, isteğinizi kaybetmeyin. İkincisi, pes etmeyin. Üçüncüsü de büyük düşünün dedi. Yani aslında bizim Türkçe'de ifade ettiğimiz gibi boğulacaksanız büyük denizlerde boğulun demek istiyor. Yani bir derginin impact faktörü ne kadar yüksekse, kalitesi ne kadar yüksekse siz de artık o seviyede kendinizi çok geliştirebilirsiniz. Yani kötü kalitedeki dergileri göndermekten ziyade iyi yerlere, iyi dergilerde yayınlayın çalışmanız dedi. Do you say that the challenge bigger, the success bigger, like this?
Sorry.
Could you repeat your good word? challenge you're bigger, your success bigger, like this. I don't remember right now, but it is good.
So yeah, the sentence would be like, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward.
Okay.
So like if you bet $1, you're gonna get $10. But if you bet $100, you're gonna get like $1 million, right? So the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward, the bigger the prize that you're gonna get from it.
Evet. Yani zorluğumuz ne kadar yüksek olursa başarımız da öyle olur diyor. Yani hatta iddiayla örnek veriyor. Yani 1 liralık iddiaya girerseniz 1 lira kazanırsınız. 100 liralık iddiaya girerseniz 100 lira. 1 milyon dolarlık iddiaya girerseniz 1 milyon diyor. Yani burada büyük düşünmemiz gerektiğini söylüyor. Pes etmememiz gerektiğini söylüyor. Ve gerçekten hırslı, istekli olmamız gerektiğini söylüyor. Yani bunu biraz daha motivasyonu bağlarsak aslında kendi içsel motivasyonumuzun yüksek olmasından bahsediyor. Now, would like to hear about time when one of your publications had an unexpected impact on your career. Şimdi de şunu soracağım. Akademik yaşamınızda bir yayınınızın beklenmedik şekilde bir etkiye veya fırsata yol açtığı özel bir anı bizimle paylaşıyor musunuz şeklinde. Can you share a moment in your career where a publications led to an unexpected opportunity or impact?
Yeah, for sure. But it starts with a history of resilience. Well, when I delivered my thesis in the PhD, one of the advisors asked me to add one chapter. My thesis was related to the use of augmented reality in education, right? So one of the reviewers asked me to add a chapter about the history of augmented reality in education. That wasn't expected. And at first I was like, oh my goodness, I already did all the job. Why should I add something else? But well, I wrote the chapter because I had to. But at the end of the process, I thought I should publish that as a paper. So I turned that chapter of my thesis into a paper that's an overview of 20 years of augmented reality in education, something like that. I turned it into a paper. Then it was published immediately in a very good journal. Then that paper was read by a researcher from Greece. His name is Georgios Lampropoulos. He wrote back to me and said, oh, I just read your paper. I loved it. I would like to work with you. So to make a long story short, again, we have written 8 papers together. Just because I published a paper, that researcher from Greece read the paper, he liked it, he thought we had a lot of things in common. We have been working ever since, and it's been 8 papers. And it's going to continue to be it's going to be more like 8 papers, for sure. So one paper, one opportunity. At first I was like angry because I had to do that. I was resilient. I turned it into a paper, published it, and it's been a pretty good opportunity for me to work with Dr. Lampropoulos.
Okay, I understand. In this situation we say mashallah, or it look like Arabic. Şimdi şöyle söylüyor. Benim özellikle doktora tezim sürecinde danışmanlarım birkaç tane düzeltme gönderiyordu. Bir tanesi özellikle artırılmış gerçekliğin tarihiyle ilgili bir bölüm yazmam gerektiğini söyledi. Bu ilk başta bana zor geldi diyor ama ondan sonra bahsettiği isimle 8 tane yayının ard arda çıktığını söylüyor. Ben de maşallah dedim o yüzden. Yani bu süreç gerçekten onun için beklenmedik bir süreç olmuş. Yani bir bölüm yazması onu böyle 8 farklı yeni çalışma etmiş. Belki de normalde eğitim bilimlerinde olmayan biri için sonradan eğitim bilimlerine artırılmış gerçeklikle girmiş olmak onun için galiba iyi yayınlar yapması için önemli bir kapı açmış oldu. That was a striking and thought-provoking example. Thank you. Bu etkileyici deneyimin ardından şimdi genç akademisyenlerimiz için strateji önerilerini mi duysak acaba? Ya da 3 tane önerisini alalım. Şimdi sadece 3 taneyle sınırlandıralım. Acaba nasıl bir şeyler söyleyecek? What are your top 3 recommendations for young researchers aiming to publish in major journals? Just 3.
My three top recommendations. Yeah, for sure. First one would be English.
English, yes.
English. You must write in English. Even though you're gonna publish in a Turkish journal, you should publish in English. English is the international language. Even though you don't like English-speaking countries, because some people say, well, I don't like United Kingdom, I don't like United States. Well, it's not about country. It's not about politics. This is science, and science is published in English. That's it. Even though most people speak Chinese, Chinese people publish in English. That's it. For example, you're from Turkey. I am from Colombia. We're speaking in English. We're communicating in English. That's the international language. If you go to an international conference, there could be like 1,000 researchers with 100 or 200 nationalities, different nationalities, but everybody's going to communicate in English. That's it. So first recommendation would be, if you don't know, learn English. Learn to write in English, and everything you do it from the beginning in English. Okay, the second one would be work collaboratively. So collaborative work. You can't do anything alone. Well, perhaps you're gonna do one or two papers, but if you want to have a greater impact, if you want to publish a greater number and with a more quality, if you want your papers to be of a higher quality and of a broader impact, you have to work with other people. But not all other people, not only from your own country, but from people with different continents. Like my last paper was published in like 15 days ago. There were 10 different nationalities: Brazil, United States, India, Morocco, Palestine, China, German, France, and Colombia, something like that.
Turkish.
Sorry?
With Turkish, you forgot Turkish with me. We have together almost 5 or 6 publications.
No, but I mean my last paper. Only my last paper.
Okay,
only one paper. Only one paper gathered 10 nationalities. Only 10 papers.
Okay,
only one paper, sorry, gathered 10 nationalities. So it's a collaborative work, international work, and that's what makes my first point even more important: English, right? And the third one would be, this is a brand new advice: do it yourselves. Don't trust too much in artificial intelligence. Once you write a paper and you submit it to a journal, they will examine it using whatever tool. There are a lot of available tools like Turnitin. Like, for example, Turnitin will tell you how much of the paper was written by artificial intelligence, and if even it detects even if a paragraph or some sentences were produced by artificial intelligence and then was like reorganized by a human person. So it identifies everything. So do it yourselves, because no journal accepts paper with a higher percentage of 20, with a percentage of 20 or higher. So you have to keep it low less than 20%. So my third advice would be to do it yourselves. Don't trust or don't do everything using artificial intelligence, because you're gonna get rejected. Okay, that would be the three most important advices for now.
Your strategies and practical advice was extremely valuable for emerging scholars. Bu süreçte 3 tane önerim var dedi. Birincisi, her ne olursa olsun İngilizce öğrenmeniz gerekiyor dedi. Yani ben İngiltere'ye karşıyım, Amerika'ya karşıyım gibi bahaneler çok gerçekçi olmuyor. Çünkü bu alanda bildiğimiz bir gerçek var ki O da İngilizcenin dünyada bir evrensel olması. Yani siz Türkiye'den beni dinliyorsunuz. Ben şimdi burada Kolombiya'dan yayın yapıyorum. Bizim ortak dilimiz İngilizce oluyor. Yani siz İspanyolca konuşamıyorsunuz. Ben Türkçe konuşamıyorum. O yüzden İngilizce öğrenmek çok önemli diyor. Yani bu İngilizce öğrenme sürecinde tabii sadece günlük hayattaki konuşma becerileri değil, aynı zamanda akademik anlamda da İngilizcenin çok önemli olduğundan bahsediyor. İkincisi collaboration dediği, yani işbirlikli çalışma yapmış olması. Bu size çok şey öğretir. Hem de yeni fırsatlar açar diyor. Bunu da bir örnekle açıklamış. Diyor ki benim sadece bir makalemde 10 farklı ülkeden insan vardı. İşte içerisinde Brezilya'da vardı, Çinli'de vardı. Ben ona da hatta Türk de var dedim ama sadece bir çalışmadan bahsediyor. Bir çalışmayı sadece 10 farklı ülkeden katılımcıyla beraber yapmış. Bu durumu niye söylüyor? Çünkü bu durum çok farklı ülkeden araştırmacıların, özellikle bu alanda ciddi katkıları olan araştırmacıların beraber yazdığı bir makalenin dergiler tarafından kabul edilme oranı daha yüksek olduğunu düşünüyor. Burada İngilizcenin çok iyi olması gerekiyor. İşbirliğinin çok iyi olması gerekiyor dedi. Üçüncüsü olarak da what was your third advice? I forgot now.
The what? Sorry.
Third advice. Third
The
suggestion.
third strategy, well, related to artificial
Okay,
intelligence.
I remember. Okay. Üçüncüsü olarak da çalışmanızı yaparken kendinize güvenin, yapın diyor. Yapay zekaya çok güvenmeyin diyor. Artificial intelligence şeklinde söyledi. Yani burada dergileri gönderirken çok yapay zekaya olduğu gibi paragrafı almayın. Çünkü dergilerin bu süreçleri kontrol edebilen uygulamaları var diyor. Turnitin'den bahsediyor. Aslında Turnitin bizde de yaygın olan bir şey. Turnitin'i bildiğiniz gibi eskiden biz intihal olarak kontrol ediyorduk. Şimdi intihalin yanında yapay zeka ile yazılmış mı yazılmamış mı oran da var diyor. Benim diyor danışmanlarım ya da beraber yaptığımız kişiler diyor yapay zeka ile yapma oranının işte %3'ün bile altında olması gerekir ya da %20'yi geçmemesi lazım. İşte benzerlik oranı gibi farklı yüzdeler de söylüyor. Burada biraz daha kendiniz bu konunun içerisinde odaklanın, yazma sürecinizde gerçekten siz odaklanın, yapay zekadan biraz uzak durun demek istiyor. Bu üç araştırma önerisi, araştırmacılar için bu üç öneri de kıymetliydi. Şimdi bir dahaki sorumuza geçerken böyle stratejilerden bahsettik ama uluslararası işbirliklerinden bahsetti. Peki bu yayınlarına ya da bu akademik başarısına nasıl katkıda bulundu? Bunu biraz daha detaylı ondan açalım. Speaking of strategies, let's now turn to how they play out in your international research collaborations. Uluslararası işbirlikleri bağlamında ne tür deneyimleriniz oldu? Birinci sorum bu olacak. İkincisi, bu süreçlerde karşılaştık fırsatlar ve zorluklar nelerdi? Another question is that what has been your experience with international research collaborations? What opportunities and difficulties have you encountered?
Okay, one more story. This is all about stories. So in 2020, well, I finished my PhD in 2020. But then in 2021, we were still in the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So I was at home. I needed to do something, and I thought of a big research project. How mobile learning, how learning impacts education. So I thought of that project, and I started working on it, gathering data from a lot of empirical studies. So I created a huge database with a lot of information that I would need for writing a review paper, well, two review papers, which would be a systematic literature review and a meta-analysis of the impact of mobile learning on education, right? So it took me like almost 1 year to collect the data, to do the research, almost 1 year. And after that year, I asked 4 of my closest research buddies at that time. I asked 4 of them if they would be willing to work with me. 2 of them, unfortunately, couldn't work with me because they were busy doing something else. They were, of course, they had their own responsibilities, but 2 of them accepted to work with me on that project. And those 2 were, well, the most experienced ones, so that was good. And even one of those researchers asked me if he could invite someone else, someone from China. So there were 4 of us at that moment, and we started doing like a mini project using my data, using the data that I had collected for the past 1 year. We started programming what papers we should do. So I was in charge of two papers, one systematic literature review and one meta-analysis. That was the original ones, but they said that we could do even more than 2 papers, and they were willing to do the papers, to write the papers, to lead the papers, and of course the 4 of us would participate in each of the papers. Again, so far it's been 8 papers from that project. From 2021 to 2025, we have published 8 papers. There's one more coming up in the few days, the paper I mentioned that is going to be published in Computers and Education. For sure,